Hello, and welcome to Well Control Subjects for Drilling Intervention and Workover. Please allow me to make myself a short explanation of the reason why I make these videos, because I learned hard way from the community and from the industry. Now I would like to give back what I've learned to help the youngsters, and that's all about it. Now, hereafter we will examine a question in the IWCF test for level 4. Okay, that is using the rulers method, circulate the influx in the annulus in the first circulation, right? While doing that, they want you to hold the casing pressure gauge constant, and they ask you what will happen to the bottom of pressure of the well. Let's get deep into it then. Here are the gauges so that you can easily follow what I'm going after. You have here the drill pipe pressure gauge and the casing pressure gauge. These two gauges here are what supposed to happen following the procedure and the principle in the ruler's method, first circulation. And this gauge here is a casing pressure gauge. Is that the question asks us to do? They ask us to stay at one constant value and find out what will happen to the bottom of pressure of the well. I mark a few markers on the gauges and on the graph here so that you can easily follow and then don't get lost along the road. First, on the drill pipe pressure gauge, I would like to make 3 markers. The initial certain drill pipe pressure, the ICP, and this green zone here is my safety zone, my safety margin. I give myself 50, 70 or 100 psi above the ICP and the FCP. And on here, this casing gauge here, I mark the initial certain casing pressure. And I give myself a safety margin 50, 70 psi above that initial certain value. On the graph, I mark the same. The horizontal axis is the stroke counter, the pump counter, and the vertical axis is the drill pipe pressure gauge and the casing pressure gauge. Yeah? We know that when we crack the pump in the first circulation to bring the pump from 0 to Q rate, during that process, we try to stick with the casing pressure gauge. Stick above it with the safety margin so that we are overbalanced a little bit. All right. The moment you go below the initial certain casing pressure, you go underbalance. So that's why I mark it as safety margin here, right? When you bring the pump from 0 to Q rate, you know that the drill pipe pressure gauge will increase from certain drill pipe pressure to ICP. Okay? With this ICP, after you reach Q rate, the first circulation, you try to stick with the ICP for the entire first circulation. So I give myself another safety margin about 70 psi above the ICP. I don't go below that one so that I don't get underbalance. That's very simple. While the influx is traveling from bottom to the surface, these are the values that we stick with. Okay? Let's click play and see the demonstration here. See? Gas goes up and expands, and casing pressure is rising from initial certain casing pressure all the way up to max up. Okay? So as I said, right, we look at this rectangle, red rectangle here is what the question is about. While circulating the influx up in the annulus is not out of the well yet. So we are in the middle part of the first circulation, right? So we know when we get the pump from 0 to Q rate, this line is a pump rate, pump stroke counter. The drill pipe pressure will increase from initial certain drill pipe pressure to ICP, this orange line. The casing pressure gauge, we try to stick with the initial certain casing pressure, and we give ourselves a safety margin. So I say on the green line here is a safety margin, all right? Now, after reaching Q rate, instead of switching attention to the drill pipe pressure gauge and stay with a constant, a little bit margin, safety margin above the ICP, now the question wants us to stay with the casing pressure gauge and keep it constant, following this purple line here. We follow this purple line, we stay one value on the casing pressure gauge. What the casing pressure gauge is supposed to do is follow this blue line here, this continuous blue line here, showing the rise of the casing pressure gauge as gas travels from bottom to surface. Now this part, the dashed line, blue here, is what the casing pressure gauge will progress after gas gets out of the well. Now we don't care about that part yet. We care about this part in the red rectangle where the question is asking us about. while gas is up in the annulus. Casing pressure, guys, is supposed to rise. Now we keep it at one constant value. How can we do that? We have to open the choke, vent off the pressure to keep the casing pressure is constant at one value. So as we are venting off the pressure from the valve, what do you expect to happen to the pressure in the valve? Is it reduced? Sure, it's reduced, right? If it's reduced, the bottom pressure of the valve is reduced. Very simple, very straightforward. So the answer will be reduced. Bottom pressure will reduce. If you stick while you are circulating gas from the bottom to the surface, and you try to stick with casing pressure gauge at constant value, you will reduce bottom pressure. All right. The right thing to do is stick with the true pressure gauge. Give yourself a safety margin, green line here, okay, and stick with it for the entire first circulation. All right. I hope you enjoy it, and see you soon in the next question. Cheers.